So part of why I wanted to do is because obviously it's been a very big week for not only the matriarchs, but the tribe in general, right? For the whole, for the collective, for everyone. It's the Virgo full moon, which is the big mama moon. You know, I have on my blue and my sunflower because I have to represent Yay, right? And Oshun, right? So, I'm representing my divine mothers because I am a child of Yay and of Yah, La Sarita, and Israel Tor's child, and many others. So I'm going to bring my mother lines in with me on this beautiful Virgo moon because I have to represent the mother line. And also some of the divine masculines of Rachel said, hey, don't forget about us. Like, what this mean to us? And I was like, oh, trust me. We know it's big. It's the tribe. It's the tribe. So that's why I'm about my eye, right? Because, I'm also from the house of Aset, of which I call Isis. So, I keep the scales in my hand. That's why I come in. Chosi stays by the door. Chosi don't never miss his target. So, I keep the scales in. So that's why we got the masculine and feminine energy in. So we can discuss. So the Virgo full moon, which came in officially at 7:28 this rising, right, at 5, the number 5 degrees, right? And I think that's an interesting number and energy, right? I sent in a lot of knocks to you, Chief, on some of the animals or things that have washed ashore since the matriarchs have done our things. And I kind of want to,
water.
yeah, so I'm going to just let you have that part. So let's let the Chief break down, because that's why I sent you the knocks on the animals. Before we even get to the astrology, let's just talk about the receipts. Because, we bring a receipt.
The chart, if you go on my page, you'll see me breaking down playing cards and what they mean in political arena. And the shark is the symbol for the card player, the card shark. But it's really the shark. But everybody say shark, right? The dolphin is the flipper, the cold flipper, right? So when you see the shark washed up, that means that the card game is over.
Game over.
Yeah, that's the symbol of the cleansing waters, the ocean waters. Yimmy ya, oh yeah, cleaning the deep sea. And that's why they seeing great white sharks bit in half. Those are the other sharks in the game. So now the game over. And the dolphin is the flipper that came out on top when he exposed Moby Dick as the great white whale, which turned out to be the little white lie.
Yes.
And the little white lie was the slave narrative that they gave us from Notre Dame, the Dame of the North. And the Dame of the North is the frozen woman. She's frozen in her position because she's made out of ice, an ice statue. And the ice is ice. So when the ice start icing, then ice is ice. So Isis is the ice princess. And the ice princess being the Dame of the North, and she have her city set up as the great Parthenon of Isis. But the French usurped her, so they built the tower to tell them where I fell. Right? And then they sent us a statue to commemorate who we fell to, a fucking drag queen pretending to be feminine. Right? So we fell to the drag queen, and we had a drag race across the land. It was just a cannonball run, which was a scavenger hunt. Right? And we had to pick up all of the pieces in order to put the puzzle together to tell the story. And the story is in my literature say who did it, where they come from, what they do, why they do it, and how did they get it done.
Right.
So we told them. They came in off the 32-degree Scottish Rite, flying kings off the checkerboard, landed on the Queensland, Australia. The irony is the first WWE event ever that was a pay-per-view aired today at 5 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. 5 means change. 55 means about face, and 555 means the change is complete. So we just need one more 5. right? So when we put it all together, the headline is 2 women wrestlers in the first pay-per-view in the Queensland. Checkmate.
Checkmate. And this Virgo moon came in at 5 degrees. Checkmate at 7, 2, and 8. Yes. Right.
So a lot of people just watching and they don't know what they're seeing. I'm gonna tell them just flat out, y'all looking at the matriarchal takeover.
Right.
Mama boys got mama shit back and put it all in order so when mama come home, we can give her what belonged to her. Mama home. I told you she was coming. Now she here. And all her daughters is rejoicing around the world. All you gotta do is peep your social media.
I've been sharing the receipts, and if you add up even the 7, 2, and 8, it adds up to like a 17. Which if you add up the 1 and 7, that's an 8, right? And then it's already coming in at 5 degrees. And then you know that Virgo is technically in their astrology the 9th sign, although we know it's not 12 signs, but 9 is the number of completion and perfection, right? And I was sharing with you this week. I said, "Chief, because I'm obviously a lot with Yimiyan Lassadine, so I represent a lot of the ocean water. So my tears have always been very salty ever since I was a little girl. And the older I've gotten, especially the last couple years, they've gotten less saltier, but they've always been very salty. And this week, matter of fact, a couple days ago, I think it was yesterday, for the first time, my tears were not salty. And I said, my tears have never, never not been salty. They were clear. And you was like, yeah, yep, you said that means that it's complete, that my sweet and my salt water is, because I said my tears have always been very salty since I was a little girl. I said when I was a little girl, they were very, very salty. I said, but as I've been doing my shadow work and my work, it got clear. But after we did our matriarchal for the first time in these years of my 4 and 5, 45th year, which is my 9th, because 9 is completion and perfection. They are finally, they're no longer salty.
Okay, so now Smokey Robinson, Hayoka High Chief on the land, from the land, born of the land. Right? He made the song Tears of a Clown. The Hayoka. The Hayoka is the priest who endures the suffering to redeem the righteous from the oppressive regimes of the wicked. Right? So the tears of a clown, what's in a tear? The tear, right, it's the salt, it's the cortisol, right? It's all of those things that you have to purge in the tears of the clown before the Hayoka clown can stop clowning around with the underground.
Right.
That's a Tupac knock. Remember? When he first came on the scene in his first video, he told him, I clown around when I hang around with the underground.
I get around, and I'm going to have an underground knock for you about that one, because, see, another sign of Virgo, according to Greek mythology, which we know Greek is mixing in with the whole Anunnaki stuff, but, Persephone, represents for the Virgo. And if anybody knows the story, like a lot of people like to throw the word, you're narcissist. But do you really know where it comes from? From the narcissus flower, right? So it happened allegedly because, her father, who's Zeus, had promised her to Hades. And so she was reaching down for this beautiful flower, which we know is the dandelion, right? The dandelion. And the sunflowers. And so she was swallowed up with the black chariot that had came in, and she had to go into the underground. And her mother, Demeter, who was like, I am not resting until I find my daughter. Like the mother would not rest till she got her daughter. And so like Zeus literally had to step in, because he had Gaia. That's why I don't call this earth Gaia, because he had Gaia, which, is not as Tiamat, plant the flowers to trick her. It was a usurp, right? And so her mother wouldn't stop resting. That's why they claim they had the 4 seasons. But she had to be stuck there. And then he made her eat either 4 or 6 of the pomegranates, right? And what that means is when you eat, that's why they say you don't always eat off of everybody's table. See, we in Hoodoo know that you don't eat everybody's food. That's why we say you don't take everybody's food. You don't go in everybody's homes. So because she ate from his table, right, then she had to be begotten to come back to his dominion, his home. So that was allegedly why she had to go. She could go with her mother about 4 to 6 months a year. Then she had to be with him even through the negotiations. So with all of the wells and all that stuff coming up, it's also showing that rain is up, because she never really wanted to even be there. So to me, that's also a closing knock from that mythical story, which we know where it comes from, because it comes from a coded message of what really happened.
So when they talk about the underground, when you go read in the mythologies, the underground is the underworld, and the underworld is the world that's in the upside down.
Yes. Stranger Things for you younger kids that watch Stranger Things. Okay.
Yeah.
I have young kids
So
out to bring that anime Stranger Things.
so the when they talk about the underground, they're talking about the realm of earth, what they call Midgard, right? But you got 4 gates. Right. But the mother sits dead center from all 4 gates. So you need 4 chiefs, 4 high chiefs to set up north, south, east, and west in order to flip the map back to its right position, with the Queensland being on top.
Right.
And the Confederates said that the South will rise again. They don't know the South is the symbol of the matriarchy and the return of the queen to the land. And Australia is the Ashanti stool, which is the symbol of the mothers that ruled in Africa, but it's also the symbol of the mothers that rule around the world. Microcosm, macrocosm.
Yes.
So if you want to restore balance back to earth, the ancestors told us there will be no balance until what? The great mother is placed back on her throne.
Right.
We can't, ain't gonna be no balance if we don't do that. So my mission for the last 5 years is to systematically use the oral tradition of the ancient tribes to speak a thing into existence, to follow the path, to unite the sisters, to bring the great mother back to her seat. Right. And if I'm successful, she gonna find me, because she gonna see me doing mama's work. So when in the Bible, when they tell you that Jesus was about his father's business is to whoop your ass. His mama's business is to cultivate the land and the people.
Right.
So whose work was he really doing when you listen and they talk about cultivating the people, developing the spiritual assets within the soul of the individual, right? They don't know Jesus is ISIS.
That's right.
And they don't know that they switched the gender of all of the gods so that we would be confused about who is truly God. So when they say God coming as a man, I said, no, the God man is the man that's going to tell you that the woman is God. And he don't show you what he's talking about. So we cashed all the receipts.
Right. And that's why you notice when they say that story, when he says, I'm about my father's business, he was at 12, which is the number 12. And even if you know about our original schools of Jehudi or Thoth, right? You know, we had our schools and we were very much about balance. That's why they called it right brain, left brain. Matter of fact, I was teaching in my astrology class this week. And in our schools, we had you learn what they now call the feminine principles, because you cannot go learning all the mathematics and all that until you know how to tap into self. How do you know how to feel your intuition and what we call your chakras, your third eyes, all of those things that really are balanced before you learn the others. But here, that's why they forced those children who were left-handed, right, to want to make them right-handed, because they wanted to tap into that other mind, because they wanted to keep us so root chakra based, because they didn't want us to get up and down our spine to really learn into the full 720 degrees of the true knowledge. They wanted us to stay in our lower root chakras and just be very base, because if you really know about chakras, you know chakras are tied to the planets. Planets are tied to the megahertz frequencies. That's why they control the music, they control the televisions, they control the school and educational systems. And so that's why I say, until you over and understand astronomy and astrology, you can't over and understand anything, because it's all wrapped in whether you think or know it affects you or not. Right? That's why, you know, we're closing cycles, like in what they call now Vedic astrology. It's Badasha and Radush. He's the one, or she's the one, that gives what they call the wealth. It's the year of 8. It's the year of the dragon. It's the year of change. Though this is the year that, you know, those who have businesses or the money, wealth is flipping over, of that who was wicked is coming over. So that's why you have to really study all of it.
And those are complements, because people thought they were separate sciences. Just like they think that numerology and gematria is separate.
Right.
One of them, gematria, teaches you to read numbers.
Right.
But you can't translate them yet. Numerology teaches you how to translate numbers into words.
That's
so that the binary code can paint a picture in a computer that look like you really looking at the person you think you're looking at, but you're really looking at a series of ones and zeros, alphas and omegas. Beginnings meeting end. So they tying all of these loops in our face behind our back because we don't know what they're talking about, right? So I just sit back and learn what they're talking about by observation. And then I find where they hid the secrets. And then they said if they want to hide something from a nigga, put it in the book, but I'm not a nigga. So I went to see what they was hiding from niggas.
Right. I'm a nerd. I like real books. Like, I'm a nerd. I need to get all the books, the knowledge, like how they've only wanted to teach only what they call was Tantra or Taekwondo. You know, they didn't want to talk about the Tai Chis, or, you know, they didn't want to talk about all of the other things because they didn't want you to know all of what they call the secret knowledges. Like, even what they have now labeled only Reiki is not really Reiki, it's energy healing. They don't want to tell you that it wasn't only for healing, it was also a weapon of warfare. That's why I always tell you again in high AT. We wasn't worried about no guns and knives. We have, you know, what they have now called voodoo, which is just a sacred science. That's all it literally means with spirit. Science. It's literally science. So we wasn't worried about that. They needed bullets. They was trying to do that. We wasn't concerned about all those things. What they call now mudras. We could do certain things, hold a position for 3 or 5 minutes, heal bodies, do certain weapons, protect yourself, things they call mudras, or I mean, not mudras, but sigils. Those are things that we knew how to open portals and gateways and doorways. So those are things that we already just knew how to do.
So when we talk about voodoo and you talk about it being a science, it's the science of first finding the balance in the self.
That's right.
Right? And then link yourself to nature.
That's right.
Because once you link to nature, you naturally spread your balance throughout the natural world. And the natural world just so happened to be the feminine realm that they call the dark realm. Because it's ruled by the dark mother. Who is the dark mother? She is the black what?
What they call or Lilith in other astrology, the one that they hide from.
And she was usurped by the moon. Lilith was usurped by the placement of the moon. Because at nighttime, we used to have black light effect on all of those flowers that you see those colors in the daytime. The Lilith moon made them do something else at night. And women didn't have a menstrual cycle unless they call forth to birth a child. They'll do a 2-month cleansing. And in the 3rd month, they'll copulate to produce the child.
Yep, and that's how we keep our life longer too. Like, that's why we kept our energy. And like, people don't know, just like how when we say men have semen retention, and I do that. Women, we weren't like bleeding all the time. Like, I haven't made myself have cycles every month since I was 26. I don't have to do that. Like, once I learned that sacred science, I don't bleed every month for what? You see what I'm saying? So that's why people are like, you look younger than your age, because I don't like emit my life force every month. And so a lot of women, they don't recognize that we can control our bodies. If you feel you're in an unsafe place, you don't have to keep having those children by the wrong person. Like, everybody don't deserve a seed. Some of these bloodlines needed to stop, you know, and some we did bring one on the earth so we could stop them, so that they wouldn't produce anymore.
So, you know, in the declaration where it says the mitochondrial scans the Y chromosome for defects, this is what you're talking about. Because the men, when we come in order for us to find our balance, the mother's got to balance the Y chromosome, the uterus first. That's why all zygotes begin to be female. Because she can't pass you as a male with certain defects in the Y chromosome that the mitochondrial is already programmed to combat. But now we got new elements added. So what happened? At the Mahuta, the women get source codes.
Right.
If we restore in balance, the source codes that the women have is also in the earth. And when the sun shines on the earth, earth sends back from its core a frequency that tells what the source code said, and then the solar rays come in to give us the corrective energy to correct all of the Y chromosomes to balance out the men. And this is called the restoration of the gender contract.
Right.
The men can't restore the contract if we don't put the women back in their place.
That's it, I'm telling you. So look, I'm going to share some with them too, or two things. I'm going to get in and I want you to break them down. Number one, you know, we always say root workers.